Welcome to Focus on Health, a series of educational programs highlighting current health issues sponsored by the School of Nursing at Salisbury University. I'm Dr. Mary DiBartolo, Professor of Nursing and host of the program. This is one of our Cooking for Health installments, and I welcome Shawnee Seitz.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. You are a registered dietitian, and you are a community dietitian for Moveable Feast.
Yes.
So just briefly tell us about what Moveable Feast is and the recipe that you're going to share with us today.
Sure. So Moveable Feast is a nonprofit organization mainly based in Baltimore. We provide medically tailored meals to eligible clients in Baltimore and on the Eastern Shore. And today I'm going to make a Brussels sprout recipe for you.
Well, Brussels sprouts are hot. They're gotten very popular in the past few years.
Yeah, I think a lot of people used to not like them because they were associated with this sulfur smell and this sulfur taste, and a lot of people prepared them out of a can, but now everyone's roasting them and making them fresh, and they're really good.
I grew up on Brussels sprouts out of a can, and they're just so much better fresh.
Right.
What is the name of this recipe? And I know one thing you wanted to mention, that it's part of the cruciferous vegetable group, and a lot of people don't know what that is. And there's many foods in that group that are popular, from Brussels sprouts to broccoli.
Right. I don't know if I really have a name for this recipe. It's just like my Brussels sprout hash. We'll call it that.
Okay.
So Brussels sprouts are a cruciferous vegetable. That's also included in that is like broccoli, bok choy, cabbage. They kind of look like mini cabbages.
Right, they do. And cauliflower,
And
right?
cauliflower, yep. And cruciferous vegetables have phytochemicals in them, which are thought to help with the detoxification of carcinogens, and thought to help with preventing or treating certain conditions like cancer and heart disease as well.
And they're very nutritious.
Yes,
vitamins,
they are.
minerals.
Yes,
yeah.
Brussels sprouts are good sources of folate, vitamin A, vitamin K, vitamin C, as well as fiber.
Well, what I like is we have done so many creative things with the Brussels sprout. We used to just say, eat them out of a can.
Right.
Now you're roasting them and using olive oil and balsamic and different things to make them crispy in the oven and very tasty.
Yeah, any way you make vegetables taste good, it's always a good thing.
Yeah, that's a win-win.
Yeah.
So tell us how you get started here.
Sure. So I already cut up some of our Brussels sprouts, and I'm just going to show you how I did that. I just cut off the very end. Whoa. Would help if I took that off. These knives are very sharp, so I wanted to make sure I protected myself before I started.
You have the Band-Aid to prove
it. So I just cut off the end, and then go ahead and cut it in half. And then what you're going to be left with are some leaves on the outside that will fall apart when you cook them in the pan, but don't throw them away. They're good to keep and make another dish. So you can just put the Brussels sprout leaves on a pan with some olive oil and just roast them in the oven. And they're kind of like Brussels sprout chips. They're good.
Can you slice those up and put them in a salad, say?
Sure, yeah.
I've seen that.
Yep. So we just cut these up. And again, just remove the outer portion, save it. And then our Brussels sprouts are ready to go.
So about how many Brussels sprouts is that?
So that's a pound. It's about 16 Brussels sprouts total.
Okay.
So I'm just going to put the Brussels sprouts in a mixing bowl. And to this, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. In my recipe, I'll do 1 to 2 tablespoons. I might add a little bit later in the pan if I can tell that they need a little more.
Yeah, I always like a little extra to keep them moist.
So just kind of toss them around. All right. So then we just got to get our pan heated up. So we have our pan heating on medium-high heat, and just making sure all these Brussels sprouts are tossed in the olive oil.
So you won't have to put any olive oil in the pan, just
No.
use the olive oil that's in the
Right.
bowl with the sprouts.
I might add some more olive oil while it's cooking if I can tell that it might need some more. Okay. So our pan is nice and hot. We're just going to add the Brussels sprouts with this side down. So just put them all.
So you can't just dump them all in. You're supposed to put them.
I like to do it like this. Yeah, the cut side down, and then they'll all cook evenly, and then you can check them about halfway done, see how they're doing. Just makes it a little bit more uniform. And these are going to cook for about 15 minutes.
You'll have to come and toss them a few times every time.
Yeah, we'll check them a few times, and might need to add a little bit more olive oil if we can tell they need a little more. You can start to smell that sulfur smell already, and that's actually the smell from the phytochemicals called thiols. They produce that smell.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's what makes them so healthy.
Yep, exactly. All right, so we got them all in the pan, and we'll let them cook for a few minutes, and we'll check them and go from there.
Okay. So Shawnee, these have been cooking for about 10, 15 minutes, and
Yep.
they look like they're getting nice and browned up.
Yep, we cooked them about 10 minutes, turned them about halfway through, and then turned actually the heat down to about medium-low for the final half. And yep, they're all done. They're ready to go into this bowl for serving.
Let's put them in.
Slide out nice and easily. All right.
All right. So now we'll go to the table and add the rest of the ingredients.
Yep. We got our cooked Brussels sprouts here, and to that we're gonna add 1 cup of cooked brown rice, and this is just minute rice. Very simple, you just microwave it for 1 minute.
They're so easy,
Yes.
so convenient.
We'll just throw that in, give it a little toss. It's trash. And this just kind of elevates the Brussels sprouts from just, a vegetable side to like a whole different.
So that could be your
Level.
starch and your veggie
Yeah.
in one dish.
Absolutely, and then we got a 1/4 cup of dried cranberries, or craisins as they like to call them. And I actually decided to use the 50% less sugar craisins this time. These actually have 10 grams of fiber per 1/4 cup, which is really good.
Yeah, that is.
So give those a toss around. Then we have, and they're also, cranberries are good for vitamin C. They have good antioxidants as well. Then we have a 1/4 cup of walnuts. Have good healthy fats, vitamin E, essential fatty acids in there. I just like to toss everything as we go. And then lastly, I just have an ounce of crumbled goat cheese.
I love goat cheese.
I love goat cheese
it's
too.
It's really great on salads.
It goes in the end because it kind of melts in with everything and gives a nice creamy texture. Lots of different textures in this dish.
Yes. Well, you can buy it already crumbled, I guess, and if you want to take out the step.
I haven't seen
yeah,
like
I see it in containers at the store.
Okay. Could you hand me the balsamic?
Sure.
And then last, just for some flavor, it's just a tablespoon of some balsamic drizzled on the top, just to taste. And you can leave out any ingredient, really. If you don't like goat cheese,
I think
you can
balsamic
use.
is fabulous with the Brussels sprouts.
Yeah. And that's it. It's pretty simple. Nice side dish to go with, a nice lean piece of meat or fish. Pretty much makes a complete dinner right there.
It looks delicious. Can I try some?
Absolutely. Serve yourself.
Make sure I get some goat cheese
I know.
in there. All right. So tell us a little bit more about Moveable Feast. Do they feature Brussels sprout dishes or?
Right. Well, we're always working on developing different recipe ideas and stuff. Right now, we don't have any Brussels sprout dishes in our cycle, but we do have other cruciferous vegetables featured, such as broccoli and kale. Most of the meals, they kind of look like a TV dinner, and one of the portions of the TV dinner is some kind of vegetable.
And they arrive frozen, correct?
Correct.
And
Yep.
you do one delivery per week, and
Yep. Our clients get 12 frozen meals per week to use at their leisure.
very nice.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's important, but you have to qualify, right? You have to have a certain medical diagnosis.
Right. Certain medical diagnoses, as well as demonstrating an income need as well, or inability to procure foods or prepare them due to, maybe fatigue from chemotherapy or something like that. But if anyone had any questions about if they would qualify, you could always go to our website to find out.
And what we'll do is we'll post that information at the end of the program, along with the recipe. This is delicious, by the way,
Good.
for our viewers.
Awesome.
So thank you so much for coming in to share this recipe.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us for this edition of Focus on Health here on PAC 14.